to do some breakfast style muffins. This is something that I discovered recently this week, to make a muffin that is a lot fluffier than some of the other ones that I've made, and that's because of the Fuelings that go into it. So let's have fun with Fuelings. Welcome to my channel. My name is Elizabeth. If you're new here, I am living in the light by documenting my weight loss journey, and I'm using Optavia's 5-in-1 program. As part of the Optavia program, I eat 5 Fuelings which come to me in my monthly Optavia box. These Fuelings typically come in a little pouch like this. You add water to them, you bake them, you waffle them, you make them into a shake, you freeze them. There are puddings, there's all kinds of Fuelings that you can have. And today is day 231 for me. So I've been on for a while, and I make all of my Fuelings only with water. But I choose to stick to just the water to make the Fueling, so I'm not adding anything else to it. And that is for the most optimum weight loss for me, because I had 150 pounds to lose. I have lost 88 of those, so I'm over halfway to my goal, but I don't want to jeopardize that 2.5 pound roughly per week loss that I have been having. So I stick to just water with my Fuelings. One thing I have discovered though is it's great to take the Fuelings and mix them together, and if I take 2 Fuelings, I still make 2 Fuelings out of that, but it changes up the flavor, it can change up the texture, and you can do things a little bit different. And that's why I created this particular series on my channel, Fun with Fuelings. So if you want to go to the Fun with Fuelings playlist, you can look at all of the ones that I have only using water to make the Fuelings, and it makes it really fun. So what I'm going to do is 3 different muffins today. The first one that I'm going to show you is combines the golden chocolate chip pancake with maple and brown sugar oatmeal. One of the reasons why I discovered this is they reformulated the chocolate chip pancake. I'm doing this in February of 2023. In January or December of either December of 2022 or January of 2023, they reformulated the chocolate chip pancake. Used to be my absolute favorite. Loved it every morning, almost every morning as a waffle. The reformulation, cannot stand it. It is dry. It's just awful. I really wish they would bring us back the old one, because I do not like the new one. But I have to get through the packets that I purchased. And so I combined it the other day with, and I'm going to show you this one too. So I combined it the other day with the cinnamon cream cheese swirl cake mix and made 2 muffins out of that. And the reason why I'm showing you this one first is the cinnamon cream cheese swirl cake is now discontinued. You can't get it anymore. So as of yesterday or the day before, it's no longer available. So I'm going to show this to you because I have a lot of these, because it was my favorite and I bought a bunch of the cake mix. So I'm going to show you that one. I'm going to show you the golden chocolate chip pancake with the oatmeal. And then I'm also going to show you an oatmeal with the sweet blueberry biscuit mix. The blueberries, I think, in this don't really hydrate really well if you just follow the instructions. So what I do is I take the mix and I sift out the blueberries. So I put the blueberry mix in my measuring cup. Now this recipe tells you to mix in 3 tablespoons of water. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to put a 1/2 cup of boiling water. So I have my tea kettle, and it just stopped boiling a second ago. So I'm going to fill this. I'm going to put a 1/2 cup of water in here, and then I am just going to let this sit for about 30 minutes. My oven is preheating to 375, and when I come back in 30 minutes, I will show you how to make these different muffins. They're so good. Once again, my oven is preheated to 375. Remember, I took these, sifted the blueberries out, and they are sitting in 2/3 of a cup of water, and they've been hydrating, so they're a little bit plumper, a little bit softer. I'm gonna make these fruity muffins by adding in the apple and cinnamon spiced oatmeal to the blueberry biscuit mix. So those two Fuelings together. I'm just gonna give them a little stir before I add the water. And then this is 2/3 of a cup of water and my blueberries. So I wanted to save all of that goodness that's in there anyway, so there's no reason why I can't use that. And I'm just gonna mix this all up. Because this has oatmeal in it, I am going to let this sit for a minute. And while this is sitting, I am going to work on my next one, which also has some oatmeal in it. So this one is a combination of the maple and brown sugar oatmeal and the golden chocolate chip pancake. So kind of like, think about oatmeal chocolate chip cookies, kind of, but I'm doing this as a muffin. So I'm putting in the oatmeal, the golden chocolate chip pancake mix. I opened one of these new packets the other day and there were no chocolate chips in it. How disappointing is that? But all the rest of them so far have been okay. All right, so I'm gonna do about a little under half a cup of water. So a little more than 1/3, a little under a half, probably about 6 tablespoons of water in this one. And I'm just gonna see what that looks like when I get ready to put it into my silicone muffin tins, but I want to make sure I get it all wet. And again, this has oatmeal in it, so I'm just gonna give it a little bit of time to hydrate. It's nice when you can do multiples together, and then if you're not going to eat them right away, like today, then I'm going to stick them in the refrigerator. If I think that it's going to be more than a couple of days before I eat them, then I'll pop them into the freezer, but I typically eat them right away. So this is gonna be kind of breakfast for me for the next 6 days. So I'll have one of these and I will just keep them in the refrigerator and they will be fine. So this is the one that I made this week that actually led me to realize that the chocolate chip pancake mix actually makes a good muffin that stays really puffy. And when I combined it with the cinnamon cream cheese swirl cake, so they're both kind of cakey, that worked really well. You can use things like I've shown before how you can use the shakes mixed with the cookie mix. Those do tend to make, they will puff up, but then when they cool off, they really condense and they're definitely fudgier, denser. They're not as light and fluffy. These actually came out so fluffy. I was really surprised. Even after a day in the refrigerator, when I had the second one the next day, it was still a lot like muffin texture, which was pretty impressive. So again, I'm going to do about 6 tablespoons of water. So right between 1/4 and 1/2. And it will be a little bit on the thin side. For those of you who watch my videos a lot, you notice that my big old cutting board is not here. That cutting board was the cutout for our kitchen sink in our old house when we put in butcher block countertops before we sold the house. And so I asked the contractor if I could have the cutout, and he obviously it was mine, I paid for it. So I took it and I brought it to this house when we built this house, and I left it until I was ready for it. And then I just sanded it really well and covered it with tung oil. And you're supposed to do that. You're supposed to sand it and put tung oil on it like every year, especially because I use it all the time, but it had been almost 3 years. And so it's sitting out in the garage. It's got its final coat of tung oil on it, sitting out there. So hopefully it'll be back in the next 48 hours because you got to let it sit for a little bit. All right, so there's my mix is all mixed up, and I'm just gonna pour this into 2 of these silicone muffin pans, and I will say it will fill them up pretty much to the top, but don't be afraid. They won't overflow. At least they didn't when I did it earlier this week. So we'll see what happens when these bake. But that's why I have them on a sheet pan for one thing. spatula so I don't want to waste any of my Fuelings. You know, you pay good money for these things, and you have such a small amount. You want to make sure that you get all of the nutrition that your body needs to have. All right, that's good. This one has been sitting here. I'm going to do this one first, and that one has apples and blueberries in it, so I'm going to let that go for a few minutes. And again, just divide this as best you can between the two. That's full. All right, last one. This one's blueberry and apple. This should be, I'm hoping, this is going to be a delicious breakfast muffin with blueberries and apples. That should be really good. So there's not much I can do about that. Let me see. See if I can take just a little bit. I'm going to have to divide this one between two, which may not be a bad, because I'm telling you, this was an experiment, so I'm not exactly sure how this is going to work out. I'm going to get 1.5 of these muffins, basically, for one Fueling, if this works out. All right, so this is an experiment. I'm gonna pop these in the oven. It's gonna take probably 18 to 20 minutes. And so I'm gonna let these bake, and then I'll come back and we'll explore this one because it's about time for me to have a Fueling. These are fresh out of the oven, so you can see how puffy they are. And as I continue to talk to you for the next couple of minutes, you'll see that they may deflate a little bit, but I don't anticipate that these are going to deflate that much. I did bake them for 19 minutes, and I think that that's probably sufficient. For one of my Fuelings, I don't know. I actually think I'm gonna put them back in. At least some of them I am. Let me do a little test. Those oatmeal ones might need a little bit longer, actually. Let me see. So that comes out clean. That needs a little bit more time. So the ones with the oatmeal are going to need more. So I'm going to guess that the ones with the oatmeal are going to need 25 minutes. So let me put these in for another 6, and that should be good. And I will be right back. Let's try this one more time. So these, you can see they didn't sink that much. These are the other two that have the oatmeal with them. I tested them already, comes out clean. These are definitely need more time. So once again, because this again was an experiment, I'm going to pull these off. I'm glad I have a little bit of time to play with. So 26 minutes so far. Let me put them in for another 4. So back in the oven, 4 to 5 minutes. Hopefully they are done. We shall see. Clearly experiments do not always work out for the best. I knew that these would work. I knew that the pancake mix worked well, and that I could mix it with the cake and have a really good result. I thought I could mix it with the oatmeal and have a good result, which it seems like that has worked out for me. So this is the one that's with the oatmeal. These have been out longer from the oven, and they're still nice and rounded, mostly at the top. The ones that have just the oatmeal and this was the oatmeal and the blueberry biscuit, did not fare quite as well. So what I'm going to end up having to do, because they're still not cooked in the center, it's still really wet in there. So I think I'm actually going to pop them out, throw them in the air fryer, and hopefully they're good. But these are definitely good. So my recommendation is, if you have any of the cinnamon cream cheese swirl cake left, mix that with the chocolate chip pancake or the golden pancake, either one. 6 tablespoons of water, bake at 375 for 18 to 19 minutes. Comes out great. If you add the oatmeal in, then add an extra 5 minutes. If you do oatmeal and the pancake, that's going to be more like 25 minutes. Don't try the blueberry biscuit and the oatmeal, because clearly that was not a good idea. So give those a try. It is fun to have fun with Fuelings. Sometimes you have happy accidents, and sometimes you have accidents that you're like, I'll eat them, but they're not going to be as fun to eat as these right here. So I hope that you will give some of these a try. Let me know in the comments box down below what you think. If you think there are some Fuelings you want me to try to play with and find some additional ways to use them without hacking, just transforming. And until I see you next time, please live in the light.